Who here came to see Nick Nemeth? That's right, myself included. Now, Nick, you're no stranger to the UK, but how much time have you spent over here? Have you seen all the sights and gotten to soak up the culture?
Most of the time, it's rainy and we're doing shows and going in and out and right back on the road. So this is one of the first times I got here yesterday afternoon, and it was actually pretty good weather, I think. So I haven't seen a lot of the sights, but being able to walk around and have some fun is good enough for me. I like
Very
that.
Cool. Well, I have to ask you about some recent ongoings. First of all, you guys got to follow him on social media. You're so active. You're so great about it. And that is where I saw that you've joined TNA Wrestling. Tell us about how that came about, because I've heard from, fans and guys in the back alike that it was so exciting for fans, but everyone in the back was just going wild for you as well.
Yeah, I was very lucky. One of the first day I left WWE, TNA was the first to call. And I was excited because I know so many people in that locker room. Yeah. I know how hard they work. Every company has hardworking people. So to stand out as a locker room that has so much unity, that is so tied together, that we're like, we want you here to make it even 1% better. And I go, I couldn't turn it down. I was so excited. So many friends there. And then finally making it into that locker room and seeing so many faces that I've seen in the past, and people that were just excited to have me there. I was excited to be there. I think TNA is one of the hottest, funnest companies going right now, and I hope it continues for 10 more years.
For sure, yes. TNA. Thank goodness we're calling it TNA again. That took me years to learn Impact, and now we're back to TNA, so that's awesome. But I think if you'll agree, there's a lot of diversity and a lot of crossover now between WWE, TNA, AEW. Do you think that's evolved and gotten better over the years?
Yeah, so I was with WWE for 19 years, and a lot of times you'd see other companies going back and forth, or a big match here and a big match there, and I didn't really see it too much with WWE at the time, but watching everyone else do it, and now seeing people bounce around, whether me, like a hired gun where I'm showing up and fighting somebody for a title or having a big match, or just having a deal where you can, like, hey, I saw this person on TNA, and I saw this person on New Japan television, and you can just see so many different people bouncing around, and it hits different audiences. Someone like me who grew up only watching WWE and WCW, and now you see all these other companies, and you go, oh, there's another guy out there that I want to get in the ring with. And that's a huge thing, not just for us, but for all the fans, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. We're spoiled for choice. There's a lot of diversity for sure. But 19 years in WWE, you had such an amazing career. And again, I'm not doing this to blow smoke. You are one of the most talented wrestlers in the world, in my opinion. Honestly, technically speaking, and just showboating son of a gun, honestly, so talented. What was it like to work with WWE for such a long tenure?
It's scary at first because I did not come from independence. I was not a legacy. My mother and father weren't in the business. I was just a fan, and I grew up wrestling, and I told my dad I wanted to be a WWF superstar at the time, and he said, okay, we'll start you in wrestling. And at 5 years old, I started wrestling, and I go, there's no ring ropes, there's no chairs, there's no anything. And he goes, get good at this, and you'll be able to get your foot in the door someday, and it worked out.
It went pretty well. Yeah. It's gone pretty well for you. Who did you emulate when you were a kid? Like, who did you look up to in terms of superstars?
I had an uncle who, so you're supposed to like Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan when you're a kid. You're supposed to. And I had an uncle who loved the Four Horsemen and Ric Flair so much. And at 5 and 6 and 8 years old, I was into Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, and I said, that's how I want to do it. That's the way to go, I think. So I don't think you're supposed to get into it until you're like 20, 30 years old, like, oh, Ric Flair, that's the man. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can maybe pull off a suit and some sunglasses. All right, yeah.
I'm picturing you as a 6-year-old just wanting to be cool like Ric Flair. That's tremendous. Now, in your WWE 19-year career, talk to me about kind of your personal relationships. Like, who are you getting along with on the road? Who are your best buds over there?
I tended to gravitate toward people who were trying to jump out of the box and make things happen. So The Miz was always trying to do something different, out of the box, get noticed on a different show just to get some more eyes on a WWE match for him or something. Or John Morrison doing the craziest stuff and stunts and movies. And Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona, who was basically spearheading the YouTube start of WWE, which is insane.
I know.
Because of him, WWE got a YouTube deal, and now everyone's online. Like that's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
But it was just people that always wanted more, and we'd come to work and we would work hard and be like, what else can we do?
Yeah.
What are we missing? And Ryder with the YouTube stuff, and we just all gravitated toward each other because we wanted more and we wanted to do it ourselves and just find a way, you know, to break through that glass ceiling of not gold circle people that, you know, you're not handpicked except for Miz. But but it just, we all loved doing that extra stuff, and we all gravitated toward each other, I think.
Yeah. Are you in the mindset that like you have to not wait on anyone to promote you, to promote yourself, right? Because you seem to use social media in a very positive way and sort of to get your brand popular, right?
Yeah, it's really important. I think, I mean, now everybody has a brand, whether you're wrestling or not, but it really was an important part where if you're not getting a lot of TV time on the show, on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, you go, well, I can advance this on social media somehow, whether it's with a video or a tweet or just making fun of Zack Ryder at the time or something. But it's like we were in a story together, and we were not the main part of the show, the main focus in any way, shape, or form, but we continued it on social media, and this is all on Matt. This had nothing to do with me. I just got to be a part of it. But we had arenas in New York City, Madison Square Garden. The Rock is in the ring, and the entire crowd is chanting for Zack Ryder. I cannot express how big of a deal that was. And it's not like 2024 Rock where we're supposed to boo him or whatever. This is the hottest thing going in wrestling and a movie star, and the crowd is chanting for a guy who's not on the show. Like, absolute insanity. Like, and he did that by doing all that extra work.
He has such a brilliant mind for that kind of thing, for branding and social media, for sure. But you mentioned Hollywood, not just The Rock. We were talking earlier about wrestlers transitioning into Hollywood. It's happening more and more. John Cena, Batista, The Rock, yourself included, and your brother. Talk to us about sort of getting into that environment and perhaps how it's different than the camaraderie of wrestling and how you're accepted or seen as a wrestler in that industry.
Yeah, I'm lucky and very fortunate. I'm in and out of LA a lot. My brother's out there doing comedy and auditions and writing movies and all these things. And you see it so much when people are, whether they're on an audition or on a movie set, to where you know, like, some people have a stigma of like, oh, you're a wrestling guy, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're doing. But it's 2024. Most wrestlers have a college degree or a couple, know what they're doing. They're making business moves on their own. And once they see like the work ethic, everyone, I've always seen it, like sometimes like, oh, this actor, he was a jerk, it was hard to work with. Anybody in the wrestling business so far I've always been like, oh, we got to work with John Cena. He was so nice and so hardworking. And it's like, it's rare because in Hollywood, you don't always have that. You have some entitled people. It's you just know that camaraderie of wrestling, all the hard work, it's like, it's very grassroots and blue collar, no matter what the situation. And I always love hearing that, hey, I just met this guy and he was so nice. Yeah. He went out of his way to do something for my family and all this. And it's like, I love hearing the good stories because it's very easy to hear the bad ones.
Yeah, for sure. It's very heartwarming to know that the wrestlers are now seen and accepted and seen as... We had some people from Vikings here that I explained I worked with Edge, and they were like, oh my God, the nicest guy. It's great to hear that wrestlers are accepted in Hollywood. I have to ask you about wrestlers in film, though. We just were talking about Ironclaw, which your brother was involved in as well.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Did you see the film, and what did you think?
So I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to, but I'm someone who knows my history, so I know how horrific and sad it is, and I don't want to watch it.
I didn't need to warn you then. Oh my God.
Yeah. But I will. But I was like I said, my brother in LA, he's constantly doing things, and he's in the movie. That's unreal to me. Like, he's in the movie. Yeah.
And MJF randomly popping up. It's a very different thing to watch the film when you know the people in it. It's very, very funny. But I know we have some fan questions coming up. But final question for me. You being such an amazing, talented wrestler, watching all different products, who is standing out to you in terms of maybe the next big thing, whether it be AEW, WWE, TNA? Who's sort of catching your eye that you think is going to do great things?
So I was very fortunate. I went to NXT for about a month and a half, maybe 2 years ago, and I got to work with Steiner, Braun Breaker, and they said, this kid's got a hell of a future, let's see how it goes out there. And I got in the ring with him, absolute sweetheart, hardworking, nice, humble, and I got to help him out on a few things, and we got to have some good matches. And I go, man, everyone always asks me, who do you like? What's going on? I go, I don't know. I don't watch wrestling. I famously don't watch wrestling. Yeah. And I go, man, I was in the ring with this young kid, Steiner, in NXT, and I really think there's something there really big. Not just like, oh, you're good. Everybody's good. Yeah. When you see that mindset and that like attack speed, linebacker speed, and then you start seeing the brain process start happening too. I go, man, that's the future he's got a long one if it all works out. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. That's a great one. And there's a lot that goes into it too. It's not just the physicality, the athleticism, but would you say it's kind of also personality, like also star quality? That's huge. 20, 30 years ago, you could be big and jacked and tall, and then you were in. You're fine. Now you have to be a Renaissance man or woman to where you're good on the microphone. You can talk to investors. You can do interviews at 5 a.m. till noon, go right to work, be in the best shape of your life. Be not just a giant guy, but you're lean and you're athletic and you're working on it every day because everybody else is. So it's become, I believe, in a really positive way, leaner, tighter, harder, everybody looking out for each other also too, instead of, I don't know, want to stab each other in the back to get ahead. You want to get ahead, but the camaraderie has really come full circle with Renaissance men and women being smart, being good, and being awesome at the business just to have a chance to be on a roster somewhere, I think. Right, for sure. And to have all of those things tick in every box, good in the ring, great personality, great with the fans, which brings me to my last question. You're meeting some amazing fans here in Manchester. What is it like to sit there, sign autographs, and have people just show you so much love all day? It's amazing. Even in the first hour that I've been here, someone's like, I've met you 18 times. Here's all the pictures. I'm like, whoa, it's crazy. And some people, I was there when you became world champion. I was in the crowd. I'll never forget it. And also people have been begging me to come to the UK for 15 years now. And I'm so happy I could finally make it happen. Yes. We are so happy you're here in the UK. Aren't we, Chris Brooker?
Overjoyed, almost uncomfortably so in my case.
He's uncomfortably overjoyed.
Uncomfortably, yeah. I mean, because I get to be around wrestlers a lot. I'm quite numb, but there's a few that I get a bit kind of...
Yeah. I literally started off, I'm like, I'm marking out, bro. This is amazing. Very cool.
Speaking of, it's not about us, it's about you guys. Everyone with a question for Nick, pop your hand up. We'll try and get to as many as possible. This man's branded. We have to.
Yes.
Show the man your shirt.
Yes. Well done.
What's your name, my friend?
My name's Adam.
And what's your question?
Firstly, I want to say thank you for coming. You've helped me through a lot of shit in my life, and I really want to say thank you. I'm coming to meet you later. But my question is, in interviews, you've said about getting Dolphed every time you're in the ring and taking yourself to that edge and then getting people to kick out. How important is that to you, especially in your feud with The Miz for the IC belt?
It's really important to stand out because, much like we were saying earlier, the machine is not always going to be behind you. You don't know what's happening, and you go, how can I stand out? When I first started, Randy Orton was the youngest world champion, and he had short black hair, black trunks, showed no emotion on his face. And everybody was trying to emulate that. I said, screw that. I did blonde pigtails, pink glittery shorts, and I go, I'm going to stand out. And even then, that little move with clothing made me stand out. So every chance you can, fight for yourself to have a chance, just so you can be able to sleep at night and go, did I do everything I possibly could to make it in the business that's already hard to make in?
Great advice. When all else fails, pigtails. Yes. It's perfect branding.
I'm a little past that stage, unfortunately. Do we have a question over here? Oh,
that's great advice.
I don't have to run, which is even better. What's your name, my friend?
I'm Jessica. Welcome to Manchester. My question is, you're notoriously known for showing off and stealing the show. But if you had to have one more match with anybody to steal the show from whatever era, who would it be and why?
Interesting. Thank you for welcoming me to Manchester. Thank you. That's a good question. When I was originally the Money in the Bank holder, I pitched an idea that I could cash in because I didn't think they wanted me to be world champion. So I said, what if I cash in this opportunity for a match with Shawn Michaels? And I thought that would be kind of cool. But now thinking about it, if I got to pick somebody, I would say 1989 Ric Flair or 1992 Mr. Perfect.
Oh, so good. Both amazing choices. Now, I would say this, but does everyone tell you that you're very Shawn Michaels-esque? Do you get that a lot?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's a great thing for sure. And I'm just gonna steer it in a weird direction here, but I have to ask. I would be remiss if I didn't. Can we talk about the Spirit Squad? I loved the Spirit Squad, and I miss stables like that. I really do. Talk about your time in the Spirit Squad.
The day I found out what we were doing. So I was told, we like that you're a clean-cut kid, that you wrestled in college. Maybe we'll have something where Kurt Angle is your mentor. And I go, hey, all right, Kurt Angle, I'm a big fan. And then I got the call that says, hey, you're going to be male cheerleaders. And I was like, oh, okay. And my heart sunk into my stomach. But I said, if this is the only shot I get, I'll be the best damn cheerleader there is. So the first 2 nights we did anything, people were booing us out of the building, and I go, oh, okay, I guess Vince makes a good point. This is something. And that we did almost a full year, maybe 12 months with the Spirit Squad, and I was very new and learning, but I got to learn from Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Roddy Piper, Dusty Rhodes. I got to be in the ring with all the legends. Sergeant Slaughter, who's here. Yeah. I got to learn from those people every night, and I feel like that's what made me get really good at wrestling.
Yeah.
So there's the positive of it, other than you watching from the outside, yes.
I did love it. I loved it very much. Chris Booker, do we have another question, please?
We do. A question over here.
It can
Anyone
totally
over
be
here?
about Spirit Squad.
No, everyone's quite shy over there. Are you filming? I'm not working officially, if the job centre asks. Question over here. Here we go. Come on down. What's your name?
Kate. So obviously you've just had the title win. How did you find the match, and how are you finding the circuit as a whole?
As someone who never did independence, I was very nervous to see, I'm so used to doing 20 and 30-minute matches and trying to steal the show. In the last year or two, I've been doing 3-minute matches or sitting at home, so I was very nervous to see if I can still go. But luckily for me, it's still there. It's like riding a bike, but I got to push myself and fight for a title that maybe I didn't deserve, but I feel like the match delivered, and we're just getting started in New Japan, and I'm really looking forward to, at some point, getting my hands on Tanahashi and seeing if I can go with one of the greatest of all time. I'm really looking forward to that.
Can he do it? Yes, he can. Mr. Brooker, let's do another question.
Come on.
I have another question, but I'm trying not to fangirl too much. It's going to happen, though.
Let it out. This is the place for it. What's your name, sir?
Jordan.
And what's your question?
Choosing anyone in TNA, who would you want to dream team up with?
Ooh, a team with in TNA? Ooh, let's see. I'm a fan of the people I know already, so Tommy Dreamer and Gail Kim and myself, and we could be like the corporate office or something. I think that's the way to go. I like that. Yeah.
You'd be the levity, and Tommy would just be the grumpy side of everything,
Yes.
right?
And Gail would be the good wrestler in the group.
Gail would be tremendous. Yes, she's tremendous. What an icon. I have to ask, actually, it comes into tag team questions. I have to say something else about your career that I loved. Teaming with Bobby Roode.
Oh, yes.
What an incredible team. I remember hearing about this, and I thought, oh my God, that's perfect. What was it like working with Mr. Roode?
So, again, he's a very quiet guy. He's a real-life grown-up, unlike all of the rest of us. Yes.
He's very dry.
He is a very serious, all-business guy, but someone, for years, Tommy Dreamer would say, Roode is the you of TNA, and he would tell Roode that he's the me of WWE, or however that works. But we got to meet up, and it's just one match in. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. We don't really know each other. We don't talk that much. And one match in, we both, I think our heads both went to something right away, to think of something. And I went, oh, okay, we're already on the same page. So he's so good and so accomplished. He's the perfect guy to be an agent or a producer behind the scenes, because he can go whenever he wants. He can always go in the ring, and he's really good about passing that on to other people. So I was very fortunate to be a partner with him, to where even if we weren't on the same page, he always had something he always had another plan or another play for us, and man, he's just so good. It's
so
awesome.
Good. But yeah, technically speaking, I thought it was a really cool pairing. Personality-wise, like I said, I mean, you're very fun and smiley, and
he's a real-life grown-up. Yes,
he is a grown-up. Another question, Mr. Brooker, if you please.
Possibly
Anyone to
from a
put your
real
hand
life
up.
grown up, we'll see.
Yes.
Come
Oh,
forth.
hello.
What's your question? What's your name first?
Marius. So, what was it like for you working with The Miz?
Working with The Miz is easily the worst thing anyone could ever do at any point, but at least I don't have to live with him. That's on Maurice. No, Miz is awesome. He goes above and beyond that. We've mentioned that. Like, he always went above and beyond to make something special or better. So we would always try and outdo each other because for a little while we were competing, for a certain spot. Eventually he got it handed to him, which is fine. But he just, someone who works so hard like that, and it's a friend of yours, so you can punch him just a little bit harder, makes it that much sweeter, I think.
It's the worst thing ever. I was like, where is this going? Uh-oh.
Right, I should warn you, this is Ryan.
Oh.
And, he and Hornswoggle nearly
Oh, really?
it got dark.
Yeah.
Are we friends? Okay, good.
Yeah. What's your favorite match you've had?
What's your favorite match?
When The Undertaker and Kane fighted.
Oh, nice. Not bad. My favorite one, I rode with Edge for a long time. And, yeah.
Yes, cheer for Edge.
Yeah, he's awesome. So he was a friend and a mentor of mine. And we got to ride together, and I got to learn from him. And then one Royal Rumble, I can't remember the year, we got to fight for the world title. Thank you.
Yeah, odds that someone here would know that.
And it was so fun because I was presented as kind of a dork on the show, and he was the world champion, and no one thought I was going to win. But we had such a good match because of Edge. It was so good that halfway through, people started to realize, oh, he may actually pull this off because this match is so good. So I was very fortunate to be in the ring with him for a while and learn from him on the road and everything. So I'm so happy for him that he's back. And I got to be his first spear back at the Rumble the next time. That was kind of cool.
Great question, Ryan. Thanks, Ryan.
Magnificent. We are. Geez, time has absolutely flown. I feel
knew it.
I'm going to be selfish.
Do it.
But I feel this question might take a bit of time. Was anyone else at Raw in New Jersey the night this man cashed in his Money in the Bank? 4 of us.
Oh, he was.
Okay. But we all saw it. I was there for it. It's something I'll never forget. Can you talk me through that day? And what was it like leading up to it? And what was it like to be in the middle of that noise as you walked out?
Oh, God.
So I got to cash in the Money in the Bank contract, was what he was referring to, at the Izod Center in Jersey and become World Heavyweight Champion. And I really wasn't sure because I didn't talk too much on TV. I was a bad guy. I lost every night. And I tried to cash in like 800 times and had been kicked in the face every time. So I didn't know if anybody was going to care. But because the crowd was so into it, the crowd was the reason I won the contract already, just because they stuck with me. But I was not prepared for that noise to hit me when I came out. I was just so focused on going, okay, don't drop the briefcase, don't mess this up. And when my music hit, I was focused and walking to the ring, and it took a second or two, and all the noise hit me in the face like a bunch of bees stinging me, and I went, whoa, everybody's on board. This is going to be beautiful, because I had set up a little bit of a match to where it was going to look like I was going to lose 2 different times, and I was so proud of that. But just having that emotion of, oh, he's cashing in, into, oh, he's going to lose right in front of all of us, into, oh, that's our guy, he's back, and he wins. And it was just AJ and myself and Big E. It was a real hug. It was like, it's always real, but it's a little bit more real when it's a special moment like that. And we all hugged each other so hard. It was one of the coolest moments, not just in wrestling, in my life for me. So it was awesome, yeah.
Honestly, you've given us so many amazing moments to remember and to cherish, and I know you're going to make some more memories here in Manchester. But before we let you get back to the autograph and photo area, what are you looking forward to after Manchester, be it professionally or personally?
A little bit of everything. I'm very fortunate. I have some comedy club dates coming up with my brother, movie stuff that we're working on. Drugstore June is coming out this week. It's a movie with a bunch of comics in it. Bill Burr produced it, and I'm in it for a minute, which is awesome. So there's just so many projects. There's so many wrestling companies. I want to be a hired gun and bounce around and see if I can go with the best at every company I can possibly go to and start doing some independent stuff that I have never done in my entire life. So I'm excited, scared to death, and can't wait to do it all.
We are so excited for to see what's next from you and wishing you continued success. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some fabulous Manchester noise for the one, the only, Nick Nemeth.